Elaine Warner from Big, Rizika Hackman and Bernard Aldridge, Rizika from Mind and Darren from Growing Well. And they'll be joining us today to talk about some of the issues that all of us in the room who've been privileged to be looking at an Ecomind project really need to know. We're living in uncertain times. We're hearing that all the time, aren't we? We're hearing about how we have to change, how we have to adapt to change. And that's right, we do. Gone are the days where we could just draw down funding, fill in all our paperwork, and then just file it. Those days are gone. Things are changing, but you know what struck me is there are two things that haven't changed. One is the commitment and the energy and the passion that each of you have in this room for doing what you want to do, and that is to change and educate people about mental health and mental health issues. That hasn't changed. And no matter how many times the government and the powers that be tell us that we have to change and adapt, the second flippant thing that hasn't changed is there's been a massive spike in the help that's needed for Mind. The helplines, a massive spike. But we all know that, don't we? We're dealing face to face with people who are suffering from stress and mental illness. And today what I hope is that all of the Ecominds projects today, they're amazing. Eco, we're all about using green space. We're all about using good food. We're all about using and connecting ourselves with the land again. We're about using bicycles to get us back fit again. We're about going back to some of the things that really people did just to keep fit and healthy, without ever forgetting that the word wealth does not and has never meant pounds, shillings and pence. It means well-being, and that's what we have to hang on to. And although we're being asked to change and look and be more innovative about how we run our projects, it's not what you are that holds you back, but what you think you're not. So for those of us in the audience that are going, well, if you're asking me to be innovative and more entrepreneurial, well, I'm not that. You probably are, you know, just don't be scared about it. So today, please make connections. Connections are stronger once you make one connection, two connections, three connections. That is what connectivity is about, and that is the power of connectivity. So in workshops and presentations, we're going to be covering how organisations can adapt to uncertainty and change. We've got some cracking speakers, so without further ado, I'd like to invite Paul to say a few words. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed. Good morning, everybody. I'm already loving the visual minutes, and I'm equally intrigued as to how we're going to translate that into something on a Word document. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're going to turn it into something we'll put onto our website, and people will be able to interact with in this new interactive age. We're really proud of the work that we have enabled you to do through the Changing Spaces scheme and the Ecomind project. I've visited a number of Ecomind projects over the last few years. I can honestly say, every time I walk away from one of your projects, I feel a huge sense of pride, a huge sense of psychological uplift, and a huge sense of gratitude to the people who do this work. We have now distributed £7.5 million to 130 projects in England, thanks to the investment of the Big Lottery Fund and thanks to the wisdom of the team who have made some very sensible decisions. And the recent investment of an additional £2.2 million from Big, specifically to help our projects develop a more sustainable footing, whilst also helping those that have demonstrated outstanding practice, is further proof of just how successful that award partner model at Ecominds has been. And I think really we should pay some tribute to Big Lottery Fund for doing something that's quite difficult for them, because like all funders, it's quite hard sometimes to let go some aspects of what you do. But Big were back, I think, ahead of the times in terms of thinking about that. And as Karen has said, that's an environment we now face. And I suppose in a way, as Karen has said, one of the reasons for bringing us all together today is because because we all have something to share and we all have something to learn from each other. There is an incredible sense of community in the work that you do. It's a sense of community rooted in a very fundamental belief in something which is quite simple and quite straightforward, and yet we know that it can be transformative to people's lives. And as Karen has said, it's a time when demand on our services at Mind and demand on mental health services generally is increasing. And that is inevitable because of the economic downturn. There is a very simple and a very straightforward relationship between an economic downturn and poor mental health. And so probably now more than ever before, it's really vital that we enable it and support each other to be able to deliver the services that we know people most value. And in doing that, we know that we need to gather the evidence that proves not just the legacy of what we've done over the last 4 years, but also to help us to be able to show that the work that we do in this area is sustainable as well. And we already know from the monitoring that we've done that the Ecominds projects have been transformative in changing people's lives. So for instance, over 1,400 people have been moved into employment, education, or further volunteering as a direct result of being involved in Ecominds. That's incredible value for money, but more importantly, that's 1,400 lives that have been changed for the better. 1,400 people whose lives have been moved on to a new path, starting points for a new journey in terms of their experiences. And we know that in some parts and some projects that we've worked in, people have become involved in the projects and now are working in those projects. And that in itself, I think, is a huge testament to the work that we've done. So we really want to see the type of green care exemplified by Ecominds as a permanent option for people who experience mental health problems. And we know, though, that we face a number of challenges in achieving that. You'll hear later in a moment from Rosina and Baron talking about the changes in the NHS and local authority commission structures. And that, of course, creates real challenges for us in terms of the way in which this can become mainstream. However, I think we also believe that it creates significant opportunities for us in terms of the way that local commissioning organisations are going to think and encouraged to think differently about the way in which they deliver services. So there is a potential opportunity, certainly particularly in some parts of the country, which we're already seeing happen. We also know that some of our NHS colleagues still need persuading of the value of ecotherapy and green care. But we do know that things are changing. There are enlightened general practitioners and mental health teams out there. And a lot of that progress is down to the work that you're doing, because you are helping people to see this theory that we talked about maybe 5 or 6 years ago being turned into a reality at a community level. We, of course, don't have all the answers, but one thing I can say for sure is that we are committed at Mind to making sure that when the Ecominds project does come to a close and we reflect on the legacy, we can be confident that it isn't just the project which is closed and we say thank you very much, that was great, good night. We have seen a significant impact on people, communities and organisations, and that there is a true element of sustainability. And I think I just want to very briefly pay tribute to kind of two groups of people really. One is the team at Mind who helped make this happen, led by Barry. Many members of that team are here, too many to mention by name, but you all know who you are, including members of the grants panel who give up a lot of the time. And I really want to pay tribute to the work that's been done on this project. This initiative came out of a kernel of a really simple and straightforward idea. And people have been incredibly committed to trying to make that work. And look where we are now, in this enormous room with projects and millions of pounds spent to really make this a reality. And I also really just want to pay a big tribute to you, because you are the people that are driving this change. You are the people that are helping to make this change happen in your localities. And I know sometimes being an eco-mind person, somebody who believes passionately in the linkage between mental health and the environment, it can can sometimes be quite a lonely place in your communities. But you stick by this, and you know that your passion and your commitment is making a massive difference. So let's go and make the most of that shared passion and commitment, and let's make the most of the day that we've got ahead. Thanks very much indeed.